I want to talk about the America Party and sort of fast forwarding it about 5-10 years time and thinking through all the different possibilities that could arrive from this. And what's interesting about it is that it's sort of creating this alternate dimension, almost like an alternate future that is possible. And it all hinges around this idea of America Party being a very risky endeavor. So I put a poll out to my audience. You may have seen this in the last video. The results from my audience, who's predominantly pro-Tesla, pro-Elon, are majority Tesla investors, it looks like. A majority of you, at least on X, feel that Elon Musk taking this on is his riskiest endeavor yet. If you compare it to, say, Tesla and SpaceX, Tesla is a company that disrupted transportation. Tesla has created this platform for electric vehicles that are now autonomous officially in the city of Austin. They're operating with a safety rider, but that electric vehicle platform is now being leveraged for a self-driving car network where the company is going to be manufacturing these in the multiple millions of units per year, which is going to disrupt companies like Uber. It's going to disrupt companies like Waymo. It's going to disrupt car ownership in a lot of different ways, but ultimately it's going to massively disrupt the gas car industry, and that's very obvious to see. And for those that doubt that, I encourage you to go look at data around the world. Tesla has it's basically tied for the best-selling car in the world with the Model Y, and they still don't even have cars that are any cheaper than the Model 3, which is a few $1,000s cheaper than the Model Y. And then SpaceX is sort of a similar story, but probably on a grander scale. They've completely disrupted rocketry with reusable rockets. And what reusable rockets have done is that they've essentially made the access to space a fraction of what it would have cost without a SpaceX. That reusable rocket technology, the rocket going up and coming back down, that was fundamentally the thing that disrupted access to space. And it's made countries like the United States heavily reliant on SpaceX because SpaceX's technology is too damn good. It's very hard to overcome. You can't really go with another company because you can't really justify that to the taxpayer. Do I pay Boeing or somebody else triple the price that I'm paying SpaceX with worse results? And how would I justify that to the taxpayer? It makes it very difficult. And so Elon has been able to create undeniable products and companies by betting big on what the outcome of that company would be. Dramatically transforming and disrupting transportation, dramatically disrupting and transforming rocketry, which eventually is going to lead to us getting to Mars and colonizing it, which is Elon's real, long-term big goal. If I think about America Party through a similar lens, there's different ways of thinking about this party, but at its core, it's trying to refocus the country from the two-party system having all the power to the two-party system having to respond more to the will of the people, where the will of the people is actually neither party, they're independent. If you look at the breakdown of types of voter in the United States, about a quarter is Republican, about a quarter is Democrat, but the rest are independent. If you look at the map of the Congress, it's 99% Republican or Democrat. It's like 0.4% independent or not of either party. So just from a numbers perspective, there's a huge mismatch in who the government represents and what the people actually identify as. So that's a huge sticking point. And so what America Party is trying to do is trying to say, hey, we're going to stop this whole duopoly thing or uniparty thing, whatever you want to call it. At least that's the claim. That's what Elon Musk says he wants to do, and it's up to you to decide if he's being honest about it or not. My guess is he's looking at that map and he's like, okay, there's an obvious mismatch here, and it's the manifestation of that is our debt, our fiscal policy, the way that we handle taxpayer money, and the way that we as a country just print money when we can't raise enough, and we massively overspend versus what we raise because our money is not tied to anything, and we can because we have all the weapons, right? It's like such a crazy system that you're gonna have to pay the piper at some point. This isn't like nothing. It's too good to be true. You can't just make money, magic money, appear out of nowhere forever. It's just not that. It's unsustainable. History has shown that if you do that for too long, You will have revolt, you will have revolutions, and oftentimes they end poorly and they make civilizations collapse. This is Ray Dalio's argument, if you go watch his stuff, which is phenomenal. And so from that perspective, if America Party is successful, then by default, that means that government, if America Party's platform is the independent platform or more moderate platform, which is taking things that both parties can agree on and running specifically on those that are fundamental to the country, that are fundamental to the country's long-term survival and ability to have a successful future, then you become the most powerful party in the country. And the America Party becomes a legitimate forcing function for the system to be responsive to the people. However, Republicans and Democrats would know this. Republicans and Democrats know that a legitimate third party is a problem for those parties to get elected. If you think about how human behavior around politics, especially in the United States, especially the vocal minority, is extremely tribal. I've had firsthand experience with this. I sometimes fall into that trap because I'm human, right? It's like, damn, this one thing, I can't let it go, so I'm going to vote against that thing, right? It's like, it's very hard, it's so hard to overcome, but that's the reality of the situation. And the two-party system preys on that. The byproduct of that has been out of control spending, terrible health outcomes, terrible anxiety and depression outcomes, rising anxiety and depression in children like crazy, a collapsing birth rate, a ballooning deficit, a ballooning debt issue, so many different things, right? These are just undeniable facts. America has been on the wrong path for a long time. And I love bringing up this stat over and over again. Congress has a 23% approval rating, even under Trump. So if America Party is successful in its mission, they become the most powerful party in the country. But it also means that Elon Musk, right, becomes the most powerful person in the country as well. Because by default, the person who creates the party, the movement, is going to have outsized influence in that party. Then there will be people that will make the argument that he's doing it for his own sake. But then on the flip side, if polling and the data from the population says like, yo, this is the majority opinion, it's just we can't get it through to the two-party system, then the flip side will say, okay, America Party is doing its job, right? But it makes Elon singular in his ability to actually disrupt government. And so now, if you fast forward 5 years from now, I'm just trying to play through what it means for a successful America Party to actually exist. If Tesla is successful in its mission to bring robotaxi to light and bring humanoid robots to light, and SpaceX is successful in deploying Starship and making it lower the cost of space even lower by a factor of 10 because of the physics behind that rocket, you can stuff basically 10 times more and you only have to pay a little bit more of fuel, relatively speaking, as a total percentage of the cost of the rocket. And so you yet again cut the access to space by, by a 10, or you cut it by 90% or whatever. And then all of a sudden all these new industries appear out of nowhere, right? And then you make maybe space mining viable and mining the moon and going to Mars and setting up a colony on Mars, et cetera, et cetera. You make it a viable business. You're gonna have Elon Musk as the first trillionaire in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. And then we're not even talking about XAI, right? And X and that AI venture and what they're going to be able to do with Grok 4, which is, they're going to show a demo of that tomorrow, Wednesday, which is going to be super exciting. And knowing the acceleration curve of artificial intelligence and the fact that he has a giant ownership stake on that and it's being valued in the $130 billion mark or whatever, all his businesses coming together will make him the by far the richest person in the world, probably richer than the next 3 or 5 combined. And so you have a party that was founded and led by the first trillionaire in the world. And so one has to think, what is that going to do to the politics of this country? And the one thing that I'm getting really stuck on, especially with this movement towards artificial intelligence, which I'm very excited for. I think the end result for artificial intelligence is going to be massively positive for society, but there's going to be a transitional period. There's going to be a period where we're going to go from where we are today to where our world has been transformed by artificial intelligence. That transition means no more drivers. The managerial class probably gets cut down by 80%. A ton of white-collar work gets replaced by AI or enhanced by AI. A ton of physical labor that we have to do today can now be done by human or robots, right? So the plus side of that is that access to those products and services becomes way easier for a majority of the population, which then gives birth to potential new industries, because now you have way more people able to leverage those technologies, which create brand new markets. The flip side of that is that you have a bunch of people that used to do that job that no longer can do that job, and they're going to have, a percentage of those people are going to have a difficult time transitioning from the old world to the new world. And those people will notice, because there will be political parties out there that are going to make those people notice that there's a political party in the country that is led by this person that just took away your job. And I'm not saying that will necessarily even be true, or it's a guarantee that that will happen, but I'm having a very hard time getting that thought out of my head, because if you just extrapolate out robotaxi's impact to the world and the human or robot's impact to the world, by default that means these things will do most of the work that those people in those industries are doing today. And so I think it's going to be very, 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 very important for America Party, if they really want to make an impact about shifting and accounting for the people's concerns. They're going to have to be very careful how they tread that line with that subgroup of the population, because that subgroup of the population, a lot of whom will probably feel rightfully left behind by the technology, they're going to find a place to go. And there has been a rise in socialism in the country. We've seen it with the Democrat Party. A lot of young people, if you look at polling, if you look at data, they are very disillusioned with the country where we've been. Less and less people can afford a home, less and less people can afford to have children. More and more people feel like their lives are not turning out to be better than their parents. We have social media making people feel depressed because they're constantly comparing themselves to other people, especially with younger folks, especially with girls. And so we have these negative trends happening. And then on top of that, you're going to layer on a thing that says, hey, remember that job that could have been there for you, that you're already entering into a world where we're saddling you with debt, that you're having a tough time paying off? Guess what? We're actually going to make it even harder, because a lot of those jobs that you thought you were going to have is actually just being done by AI. So you should figure out something else. You should figure out something else, right? And I'm just highlighting the risk here, okay, you guys? I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm just saying this is a plausible scenario, especially given the trends that we've seen thus far with the population, okay? And so those people are going to find a home with a party that's going to want to fix that. And a lot of the times, the way we fix that is by just making money appear out of thin air. So what is that going to do to the debt and the deficits? I think we're arriving to a point, it's very hard to sort of escape this sort of reality where artificial intelligence, it's going to have to be some sort of flywheel. And Elon Musk has talked about this. There will have to be some form of universal basic income. And I think we're starting to see the beginnings of the foundation being laid from a politics perspective for that to actually be born, for that to actually become a reality. Is that going to be something America Party champions, which would be fascinating? The party that is going to be pro-fiscal responsibility, pro-AI progress, pro-natalism, will they also say, and we're pro-universal basic income, because if you're a citizen in this country, you deserve a piece of the pie from the winnings that we're getting from giving so much opportunity to people and companies to make unbelievable products using artificial intelligence and robotics? Or does that become the Democrat Party's or the Republican Party's platform as a sticking point to go against America Party that says, these guys, this party is being led by the guy that's going to take your jobs, and so we are going to make sure we take care of you by giving you the money that you deserve, and we're going to tax the hell out of Elon Musk so that you can have a good life because he took your job. Some people will say, why are you giving them the playbook? You guys, this is what think tanks are for. I'm just an idiot on YouTube who just has too much time to think about this shit. And I'm dumb enough to put it online so that people can hate on it. Yay! So smart. Why? Yeah, why do that? Anyway, that's what I do. Just a really interesting dynamic to think through, right? I think if you're a Tesla investor, an Elon fan, a Tesla fan, I'm sure everybody has thought through this. I'm sure it has entered people's minds. I think the positive take on this is Elon has already talked about it. He's talked about UBI. He knows what the problems are. He'll fix it. He'll fix He will put us on a good path, et cetera, et cetera. Tesla investors tend to believe, you know, when he says that, hey, there's this fundamental problem, we need to fix it, because he has executed on those things before from an entrepreneurship perspective. But now we're talking about like society. Now we're talking about politics. We're talking about tribalism, right? And sometimes I wonder too, is like, okay, how much of this is like beta, like a beta process to figure out how to govern Mars? Is Elon thinking, okay, so if we're going to be the ones, if SpaceX is going to be the one colonizing Mars, is SpaceX going to be the party that's responsible for setting up some sort of governing authority for the people that go to Mars, right? Or is it America? You know, is it America that's going to plant the flag, or is it SpaceX that's going to plant the flag? If you try to go through certain scenarios, especially knowing what we know now and how the political system will react, I think it would be naive to think this is going to be a straight line towards a better future, whatever that may be. I think it's going to get messier. My gut tells me that the chaos is just getting started. It's going to get messier. We're going to get unbelievable progress in a lot of different areas. Artificial intelligence, robotics, medicine, health, genomics. There's so many different things, so many fields that are going to benefit so much. And so many people are going to get such huge benefits. But it's going to be a very drastic change. Anyway, I hope this was a fun video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.